Chris Darden was out of line. I think Chris was mocking him when he was trying to cap on. You see, I don't think this was really fair. Can we show the tape? Okay, here's Johnny Cochran trying to cap. Okay, watch this. Now, can we cut over to Darden? Can we cut? Look, let Darden. Back to OJ. Now go back to Darden again. Look, now you see what I'm saying? Look at it. Look at it. There it again. Go back to. Look, now, look. Now he's doing Carmen Miranda. Look. Oh, now he's doing Carnac. He's doing Carnac.
Some of the most important moments in the history of television have occurred right before bed. Politicians, A-list celebrities, the people that can make, break, or even remake their careers, talking to one person. Late-night television can also completely redefine and reshape public opinion, leading us to one person who can be held partially responsible for shaping our opinions about politics over the last several decades. Our guest is former writer on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno for 22 years and author of the new book, Monologue, What Makes America Laugh Before Bed. John Macks joins us on the Hardline. John, thanks for being with us today.
It's great to be here, Ed. Thank you.
John, I promise I won't tell any jokes whatsoever because I know always leave them to the professionals, though most interviewers never quite get that. I will, of course, point out, however, that OJ Simpson is a guy who basically made Jay Leno the king of late night, did he not? Because Leno really used that well.
You know, it's really interesting, Ed, because what happened is obviously the story was a tragedy, but it was the biggest, as we remember, dominant news story in America for months, for over a year. And Jay and we all made the decision that we were going to talk about it, not about the tragedy, but about the, how should I put it, the colorful characters, the clowns, the circus that it was. So although you wouldn't talk about, obviously, Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson, there were jokes about Katie O'Callaghan, Christopher Darden, Johnny Cochran, Marsh Barker, and of course, the Juice himself.
Isn't that one of the toughest things for a writer and a comedian to do, though? When you have a tragic event, you know that sooner or later it's going to open itself up to dark comedy. I mean, certainly we stayed away from 9/11 for a lot of years, but even then you started to see jokes kind of sneak in a little bit. It'll probably happen about Baltimore and so much else. That's difficult to do.
It really is, Ed. And what you have to make the decision is, again, the audience determines what's right and what's not. But like after 9/11, it became much as it was in one sense in World War II, where people started to make fun of Hitler, not of the war, but you would have obviously Jack Benny doing movies. You'd have comics like Bob Hope out there doing jokes about it. And in this case, after September 11th, or a case after OJ, people do want to laugh. You stay away from the tragedy, you hit the comic aspects of things.
You swear in your book, and I agree with this too, I found this to be completely believable, that you can predict who is winning an election ahead of the polls just by checking out the crowd's response to the late night monologues, correct?
Absolutely. You know, it's what I think happens, Ed, is this. If you're in the setup, things are okay. If I say President Obama did this, and then you do the joke and it gets a laugh, that's one thing. But when you become the punchline, when your name is said and people automatically laugh before hearing the setup, when they laugh the punchline, you're in trouble. And I'll never forget in 2008, right after the Democratic convention, you could see people, you'd mention Obama's name, you'd mention Biden's name, and people were starting to get unsettled. Are we really going to turn the country over to people, or at least in Obama's case, who really don't have a lot of experience? And then September 15th came. John McCain said the economy is fundamentally sound. That's what all the jokes became about. And pretty soon, people were kind of, you hear the name McCain and people are laughing. So around, by the end of September, I said, this one's over. Again, in the end, I'm not saying I'm better than Gallup, but I think my track record works right up there.
I got about 90 seconds left. What's it like, John, to hold that power in your hand? Because quite frankly, we're always out there saying that people need to research, go to Google, find out more about their politicians. Yet you know and I know that more of what you say, Jay says, and all the rest says immediately sets the tone for an election. That's a tremendous amount of power to have in your hands.
You know, it comes from me. I always say that what I do is I follow the news. A friend of mine, Wayne Klein, once said that we don't tell jokes, we just rewrite the news. So if I'm, following you and seeing your reporting in a story, that becomes the subject of what my jokes are about. Because without you, without reporters out there, without journalists, without people giving us stories, I have nowhere to go. Once we take that, we can then paint the picture. Classic example, obviously, Sarah Palin never said, I can see Russia from my house. It was Tina Fey that said that. But that's defined Sarah Palin forever.
Is there anybody that you see right now, because obviously you're listening to the jokes, you're watching them, we don't have Sarah Palin jokes much anymore, but as you hear them right now, can you get a sense of who is really leading at this point, who maybe might be that president?
In the end, to me, honestly, it's a little bit too early. just in terms.
John, it's never too early. Come on, it's never too early to tell jokes. You know that.
It's never too early to tell jokes. It's too early for me to make my prediction as to and get a sense of who's really failing. It's more those who fall behind than those who surge ahead. And in this part, with so many Republicans running, they're just not well known enough. I mean, other than Jeb Bush, obviously, and perhaps to a degree Ted Cruz, to really get a sense of who they are. Give it a few months, and we'll start to see who's falling behind as opposed to who's moving ahead.
Chum the waters, my friend. It's going to be fun as we head there. I want to remind everybody the book again is Monologue, What Makes America Laugh Before Bed, and you'll learn a lot about your politics as well. John, pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks so much. Good luck with the book. We'll talk again.
Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it.
Take care. Telling It Like It Is up next. Proof positive that we have learned absolutely nothing about what really drives riots in American cities. It's on The Hard Line.